is the start of another great week, and we're very so excited to have you join us today. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwebike. We'll be starting off today with our newspapers, and right after that in the GV would be our main conversation also for today. But please, we would enjoy you to be part of what we do. Have a say in what we say. You can always find and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. We're very so honored to have with us, joining us from Delta State, Nigeria, Barrister Evans Ofeli, Barrister, Law Public Affairs Analyst. Good morning to you, Barrister, and welcome.
Good morning. It's my pleasure.
Thank you so very much for your time. So let's start off today with the Daily Trust newspapers, and we have lots of stories, interesting ones here. Kwankwaso's political future in limbo as defection rocks NNPP. Gunmen kill 16 in Adamawa and yet again in Benue State. Manufacturers battle for survival as energy cost rises. But our talking point for today from the Daily Trust newspaper, 15 months after EFCC yet to release probe reports on Edu and Sadiya, experts flay delay. Barrister, is this more like a selective justice that is mated on some people and ignored for others?
Well, if you see the rate at which those two cases have been forgotten, or so it seems, two strategic ministers in the administration and two strategic former ministers in the administration, because they are now suspended, right?
Yeah.
So, the rate at which the government is going about it, it doesn't look like we are going to find any kind of justice, or the rate at which the law enforcement agency, the EFCC to be specific, this flail work and this foot dragging on their reports and the prosecution of these two former ministers, it leaves a lot to be desired. I mean, this will embolden other ministers who have a proclivity or a tendency to embezzle money. Okay? For Betta, we saw how glaring her case was. How that she had misappropriated funds and paid money into her account and different kind of issues. We saw all that. The other lady, we saw how she had misappropriated fund and all that. It's just that you cannot try them on the basis of jungle justice because there's rule of law. But that rule of law seems to be working against working against us or general public, because when are they going to be brought to book, or when are they going to be prosecuted? You know, not too long after the event, we saw Betta still was sending letters with his letterhead as a minister, right?
Yeah.
We saw that. Yeah, people cautioned that very issue then. So people were calling on the president to say, was she suspended or was she sacked? And what exactly is going on? If this is the way you treat suspects, then you are encouraging criminality, because people will keep doing the wrong thing, knowing that their cases will never be prosecuted. They will never prosecute them. It's not just the two of them. We had cases before now. The position where Ifeanyi Okowa is now, before he affected with the whole team of the governor of Delta State, was the same position that Akpabio was so many years, from years ago. You remember?
Yeah.
When Adasashuma now said he should come over to APC, that if he comes to APC, all his sins will be forgiven. That's exactly what happened. He moved, and all his sins were forgiven. Okay, not just Akpabio, other governors who have now retired to the National Assembly. Many of them have cases with EFCC, cases that are not being heard any longer. Ojus of Kalu, Jolo Yami, and many of them, Joshua Dairemundo pardoned, okay, and Ojus of Kalu pardoned. They had a lot of cases with EFCC that were pending up until this event happened. So for Betta Edu and the other lady, it is a time. This is a time to really find out what exactly the law enforcement agencies, what they are doing, or what exactly is it their report is about these two people. They have to be prosecuted. Let the law or let the courts, okay, find out whether truly they committed those offenses. And if they did, let penalty and culpability lie where it should lie, so that this will stand as a deterrent. As at the time Jonathan was in power, we saw how politicians were being prosecuted and convicted. Even under Obasanjo, governors were being convicted. Can you say today that governors, what we have today, do you think the judicial system now have the balls to convict a governor right now, as we speak? When you have a window to just, all you need to do is to move to the ruling party. And then the courts and the law enforcement agency will forget about your case. So I think we are deteriorating further, because a few years ago from now, from 2012 and all that, governors were being convicted. Now I don't think it can happen. All of them are drumming for defection to APC so that their sins can be forgiven. This is a very wrong political system.
Very, very true. A very wrong political system, especially the one that is battered, with the slogan of grab it, take it, and run with it. One would wonder really if the administration of the day has the balls, to prosecute people that have been alleged to have committed crimes against the nation state. But let's take a look at other matters. Hunger worsens in IDP camps as the United Nations agencies caught operations. Barrister Van Sufeli. And when we talk about IDP camps, particularly note of mention here are those that have those that have been taken away from their communities as a result of insurgency. And sad to note that those that committed such mayhem are currently being de-radicalized and sponsored by the federal government that should have used the same money to make life better for those who are currently living in IDP camps in Gori states. Speak to us on this particular matter.
Yeah, so because the USAID cut off supply for charity, okay, now we're finding it difficult to feed our IDPs, okay? So what it means is that this government or our government does not even have provision at all for the IDPs. There's no provision. Now they are unable to cater for them because USAID, so we're using grants all the while. As a country, we don't have our own resources to feed and take care of IDPs. Meanwhile, those who displace them, we have the resources to radicalize them, to de-radicalize them. We have the resources to bring them into integration into society again, and to even employ them into the armed forces and the rest of that, and have them reintegrated, even though we are not even sure of their repentance. So it's an irony. These are the people who killed, who displaced and all that people. The remnant of that displacement, that referred to as the IDP, those ones are not being taken care of because there's no budget for them. And even if there's a budget for them, the budget will not see the light of the day. Because they don't see them as expedient. We don't see human survival and human capital as expedient in Nigeria. That's the biggest problem we have. So you throw them away in the face of clear and present danger. You now deploy resources to those who displace them. It's only in a mad society that you have that kind of consideration. People who ordinarily on their own will survive on the basis of agriculture in their respective rural areas. They will go to farm, they will produce food, they will sell, they will even make the economy to boom. They will ensure that there's food to sell and food to eat, and send their children to school. Then some marauders go somewhere, displace them, cut off, created a shortage of food supply. They created food inflation, cost inflation, all kind of inflation that is dragging the economy on its jugular. Then you turn around and use resources to empower those who are destroying the country. It does not make sense at all. It does not make sense. Then these people are not in the IDPs, you cannot take care of them. Now, your excuse is that America has cut off supply. It's Nigeria and America. So if America did not have any supply, grant or whatever it is, you will not take care of your citizens. Is that what you're saying? I don't think we have a government in the that's the summary. Yeah, we don't have a government. If we have a government, we'll take care of the most vulnerable in our society. Because the only way government can function and show that it's truly functioning is the security and welfare of the people. And in the absence of that, don't tell me about government. You have none.
Very, very sad, barristers. Truly, truly sad. I know we have done so many analysis on this particular case, and we just truly hope that our country and those who administer it would actually take cue from some of these things. But let's take a look at Vanguard newspaper for a bit here. We have on the big story, Tinubu to opposition. Don't blame me for inability to manage your affairs. Says democracy not threatened in Nigeria. But I'd love you to speak to the issue of defections, and that's happening right where you are. Oborowori Omo Agege battle for Delta APC leadership. What do you think is the condition of Delta right now politically with respect to the defection? You are there right now. What do you see happening right now in Delta?
There are some dissenting voices, some persons who are courageous enough, though few. Some dissenting voices are beginning to spring up. One of the SSAs, the Senior Special Advisor to the Governor, just resigned yesterday. Resigned from the appointment, okay? That's a decent one who have courage to, interrogate the situation. So many of them are still following the governor up and down. So many of them are complicit. This decision was taken without the approval of the same constituents that brought these people to power. They claimed that the meeting they heard before the defection, that everyone was in attendance. It's a lie. It's only the party stalwarts, the party chairman, the party leaders, and the rest of that, and maybe some members of the political party. But as to whether the citizens, the sum total of the citizens who actually are persons who support, because in political party you have two levels of membership. You have registered members and you have people who support the political party. Okay, so not a sum total of them were consulted on all these things. They say wide consultation. Not so. So it was a dubious act of disregard by the governor to think that they can just pull out like that and have everyone supported. Some persons are beginning to say no, that this is disrespectful. Okay, the party, the PDP, we all join hands to build that political party in Delta State, and have been the party of leadership from 1999 till now. So to pull out from it recklessly and then turn around to say that the defection is to bring development to the state is a lie. Let's be honest, it's a lie, and that lie has been sold to the public. And those who are courageous enough are saying that it's not true, that this is just, we have seen from history that this kind of emergency defection does not prioritize citizens' advancement or citizens' development in politics or infrastructure or whatsoever kind of development. It is just an opportunistic move to secure oneself. It's Okoa that is engineering all this.
But what do you think the local Deltans, what do you think the atmosphere is like with local Deltans, the normal man, the average man walking down the road and doing his business? Are they just okay with what is happening as, okay, since they've made the decision, let's just move with it?
Well, Betta said it's calm. People are going about their normal businesses, okay? But I have not had time to interview the average person on the streets or what he thinks about it. I've talked about it. Many of them are willing to talk on camera. Okay, even when they are not happy, they are not willing to talk on camera to have them, because I had to engage someone whom I wanted to him to record the voices and the perspectives of the average man in Delta State who is on the street, who is confused, who does not know where allegiance lie any longer, who does not know where to take his loyalty to, whether to take it to the PDP or whether to take it to the APC, or whether to pull out from the two and donate their allegiance to the Labour Party or which other party that's available for political reference. So it's a very confusing situation. Even though the people are going there normally, many people are also following the governor, especially those who get gratification from him, and those who hold political office, those who he could easily sack if they don't follow him. Those ones are following him. But at least an SSA, a senior special advisor, have resigned, and given that he does not want to be the bandwagon in this very careless lack of consideration defection that happened, and they want us to believe that it's for the purpose of development. Defection cannot add to the revenue of Delta State. It cannot become the yardstick for infrastructural development. It cannot bring food to the table of the poor or add revenue to their welfare. Okay, so it's a selfish, self-centered, self-serving, self-aggrandizement. So that's exactly what the governor has done, and had draw his immediate followership into the same cesspool of irrationality, and that's exactly what they are doing in a bandwagon situation, heading to a destination that is unknown.
Now,
and this may boomerang.
Yes, because I actually wanted to ask, those at the top of the food chain, Umar-Farouq has officially welcomed the defectors to his party, but there is a rift for who owns the party right now between Oborowori and Umar-Farouq. What have you heard from the people, and where do you think the loyalty is going to? Is it Umar-Farouq or Oborowori as it stands today?
Now, because Sheriff is the current governor, okay, is the one with resources, is the one with power, is the one with state allegiance, largely so. So he is being given preferential consideration as the governor of the state over Umar-Farouq, even though Umar-Farouq is also putting us on level of protest and resistance. But it's just a matter of time. You will see how this will be settled. All they will do is to promise Umar-Farouq that in the next election you will become this or that. Why this, you go this. Politicians have a way of negotiating their welfare. They know at the expense of the citizens. Even the Umar-Farouq that is talking, not like he represents the citizens. He represents himself and his household. So he contested the governorship election, was the APC flag bearer, while Honorable Friday Sanevi, was his running mate in the last election, and they lost. Okay, now the governor contested under PDP and won. Now the set of persons who lost and the set of persons who won in the last election have now come together in a political party. So there must be rifts. Yeah. Okay, there was a level of rift, because the hangover of the last election still lingers. But one thing I know about politicians is their ability to negotiate and settle their affairs, to retain their wealth and their welfare at the expense of the citizen. That will also happen. Umar-Farouq also have that proclivity and tendency of Sheriff Oborowori. Umar-Farouq can also take this kind of decision. If Umar-Farouq were the governor and if he were in the PDP, he has a tendency to even do more harm to the state than Sheriff Oborowori. So they are not exactly different kind of persons. Okay, they are the same kind of persons. And just mark my word, you will see how they will settle this issue and promote the APC in Delta State so that they can save Okoa, okay, from criminal prosecution, from criminal liability by using the APC to intercept the EFCC, okay, and rescue him. Then you will see how the Delta State resources will be used to promote the APC for the next election.
Wow.
That's what they are doing. That's what they are perfected.
I truly do hope and pray that Delta State's case will not be like that of Imo State, where every stakeholder is a member of the APC, but beneath the curtain is a rift that had caused so much uproar, so much violence in the state. I just sincerely hope that that won't be the case of Delta State. But let's finally take a look at the Guardian newspaper. The big story: solar panel import ban may trigger 150% price surge, worsen energy cost crisis. Barrister, please explain, help us explain why Nigeria is really going through this particular part. Our president and administration made possible for themselves 10 billion naira worth of solar grid, mini solar grid for themselves. At the same time, the federal government has placed a ban on the importation of solar panels. Help us fleshing out this issue that's so confusing for average citizens in Nigeria.
I don't understand actually what they are doing, because they also want to pull out from the national grid into the solar grid system, which is a move that I see that as very selfish move, okay, so that they will leave us to our fate. And at the same time, there's a policy in the works to ban solar panels from being brought into the country. So this is policy somersault, okay? In one breath, you are saying you don't want solar panel any longer in the country. In another breath, the highest office in the land, the highest echelon of the executive, that office is making a budget and is seeking to purchase, solar panels for a solar grid system for the presidency. Okay, I think this is quite very debilitating. It is as confusing and as frustrating as anything you can hear. This is the worst news I've heard this week. And it's coming too early in the day, unfortunately. But it is what it is. You know, if a ban is placed on goods and services, that ban is for citizens. Whatever is banned is made a contraband. Governments still have authority to bring it in for themselves. Yes, it's government that made the policy. Government can bring it in. Government is not going to seize its own goods, but it can make it a total contraband for businessmen and women, citizens, the entire public. But they can bring it in for their own use. So what he tells you is that there's no government for the masses. There's no government for the public. What you have is government of self. A selfish set of persons who only want to enjoy life and make life well and good for themselves and themselves alone. Their families and their cronies alone. So every other person. Now, when you are talking about this ban, ordinarily one would have thought that the government have already succeeded with the electricity projection, with the mode of generation and transmission we have through the turbines, okay, and through the traditional way of generating power that we know before now. You would have thought that they have succeeded, and having succeeded, there's no point for people to be going for solar and all that. Let us ban solar so that everyone can patronize our success. We now have 24 hours supply of electricity. Let the citizens spend their money on that rather than go off the grid and, go sort for panels and the solar system and whatsoever. You would think so. But here, they have not succeeded in generating power for consumption. How be it very expensive? They are now saying that even though you don't have that power, but you have an alternative means through solar. Now that alternative means too should be shut down against you, so that you will not have that. So that what you will now focus on is on generator and fuel. Okay, they forget that the emission, the carbon emission, and the issue of climate change, climate reaction, environmental pollution is a huge problem now in the country. The same government will tell you that they are promoting CNG because of climate change. And at the same time, they are taking decisions and policies that will drag the citizens further into using gasolines, pure motor spirit, diesel to power their homes and business places that will emit more carbon into the air and degrade the environment. So it's a problem that from one problem to the other, we don't even understand the chain reactions of policies, consequences of policies, how far-reaching they are, and what they are capable of, what the disadvantage or disadvantages that such policies are capable of emitting into the society. That is, we are not working on purpose. We are working on cross purpose. And this is going to do more danger and harm to this society. So we have to come together. We have to come together. If possible, get an injunction to restrain the federal government from that policy. Or find a way to ensure that if they put a ban on a house protest or something, that we move the hand of government to look for a lasting solution to power generation and distribution rather than blocking alternatives. If you have a problem with a particular endeavor and you find alternative, you will encourage people to take on the alternative if you have the vintage of love, and if you are pro masses or pro public, but not when a solution is there, you go and block the solution. So the people should do what exactly? This is unfortunate.
Very, very true. And some would say, fortunately, yet unfortunately, the Nigerian government, I would love to believe the president himself might lead the delegation to COP30 in Brazil come November 2025. And one would wonder, what will they be discussing there, knowing that the only alternative to electricity is being cut short or banned. And it's actually very hypocritical, if you ask me. I would love that we take some more stories, but that's just about the time we have for this segment. And just to let you know that Barrister will be here to take us on our main conversation and when we return. And that is civil society leaders warn against emerging one-party state under President Tinubu. That is in a Betta Still Enterprise Morning. Please don't go anywhere.